Leo, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In this video, I'm going to review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line and your day-to-day for the week of June 9th through the 15th, 2023. We're going to start out really broad with those things that are like global and really going to impact everybody. And then we're going to focus down into Leo specific things. And then we are going to break things down into the decans so I can get really specific as to how these planets are impacting your natal sun specifically. Now, it helps to know exactly where your natal sun is located, and that's what you get in your natal chart. So if you don't have one, it's free and easy. There are a lot of websites that do it. Just search free natal chart. You'll need your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location, and with that information you just plug it in and it spits it out in a couple of seconds and you can begin your journey into astrology. But if you don't have that right now, you don't need it. This video is going to be enjoyable to you as well. You don't need the information, because what I'll do is I will estimate the birth dates that correlate to the degrees in the zodiac sign, but they are just estimates, FYI. So let's start with the big stuff. Well, this week the sun is, I got my notes here, guys. So that's what I'm looking down on. The sun will be square to Neptune, and the sun directly impacts you guys. Now, a sun square Neptune means that there's foggy stuff going on, convoluted understandings of who you are or just how good you are at something, or even kind of easily bamboozled, easily tricked, or easily deceived, easily distracted. Now, it can be exceptionally creative energy too, so if you find a creative conduit to put that energy in, it's a way of using it so it doesn't use you. And so that's what I would definitely suggest for this next week to you guys especially. But the big stuff. There are two major planetary transits that are going to be happening this week on the 11th. And the first is Mercury is heading into Gemini. That is its home domicile. It is very happy and witty and intelligent and conversational and friendly and a little bit gossipy and really likes to distribute information and talk about things. I love this energy. Actually, it's a really nice, playful energy. But we also have Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn. Now, Pluto doesn't move fast, and it doesn't move, so it doesn't feel like it moves much. But when it does, it moves with a thud. And even though it's only 1 degree, there is a sense of, because it's changing signs, now Pluto's destructiveness or metamorphosisness goes back into Capricorn with anything that it missed. And Pluto in Capricorn is the deconstruction and complete refreshment of corporate systems, status quo, laws, rules, and regulations. And with its time in Aquarius, it might have rethought some stuff, is all I'm going to say. Now, Pluto and Mercury this whole week are trying to each other. Now, Pluto trine Mercury is about investigation. It's about diving in and understanding what's deep down inside, what people have tried to hide, and bringing that up for scrutiny, for understanding, and maybe acceptance. So this could be very psychological, which it usually is, but it could also be very investigative and kind of like break the internet expose. So we'll see what transpires there. Just letting you know the energy is out there. Another big energy that will directly impact a lot of you is Venus. Venus is in opposition to Pluto most of this week, right up till the end of the week. And while she's also square to Jupiter, which makes her extremely excessive, extremely dramatic, going overboard. Going just overboard is what she is when she's square to Jupiter. So with that thought in mind, with that opposition to Pluto, it can be in some ways breaking down because of excess, because of extra indulgence, like having to actually confront it, face it, or pay the bill, maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back. So that could really put some strain or stress or just major changes, which don't have to be bad, but they will be out of your control when it comes to finances, when it comes to relationships, or any kind of value system. We also have a really helpful, I think, Mars trine to Chiron. This is a very helpful and healthy energy, and it will also impact you guys because Mars is also in Leo. This Mars trine Chiron is all about healing, especially the physical body or past traumas, taking motivation from them and finding energy and strength after healing from them. And that's really beautiful. There's a few things that happened this week. Let's go into... I just want to be sure that I haven't left anything out. I think those are the major ones. Let's go into Leo specifics, shall we? If I think of anything else, I'll go back. But Leo. So this week, in the zodiac sign of Leo, you have both Venus and Mars. And they've been there already. They were there last week as well. Mars has been there for a little longer. So Venus will move between, I think, 3 and 8 degrees Leo, or 4 and 9 degrees Leo. And Mars will move between 12 and 15 degrees Leo. So Venus is in the first decan of Leo, and Mars is in the second decan of Leo. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. So what does that mean? That Venus will really, because it's conjunct your natal suns, really be impacting Leo 1s. And Mars is really impacting Leo 2s right now. Okay, we'll get into what that means. The sun. What is the sun doing? Let's talk about it. The sun is moving between 18 and 24 degrees Gemini. It is square to Neptune, which we definitely discussed, which can cause a lot of brain fog, especially for a specific group of you that's born end of second decan, beginning of third decan. We'll talk about it. By the end of the week, there's going to be no more opposition between Venus and Pluto. She'll move out of that range. She'll be about 9 degrees. And so since Pluto is all retrograded all the way back into Capricorn, is really not a strong opposition there anymore, but she is still going to be square to Jupiter while in Leo. But the sun is all week square to Neptune and semi-square to Venus. So there's definitely some agitation or stubbornness when it comes to what we feel we deserve and the attention we feel we're getting. FYI. So let's discuss. If you are a Leo 1, your natal suns are between 0 and 9 degrees Leo, and that would equate to July Leos, basically. Anywhere between July 22nd and the 31st. That would be you guys. That's your correlating birthdays. You're the ones that are conjunct to Venus. Your natal suns are squared to Jupiter. If you are at the cusp, you are also in opposition to Pluto, and you will stay in opposition to Pluto. Even when Venus moves on, your natal sun doesn't change. So for you guys who are born on the Cancer cusp, you will be you will be in opposition to Pluto for a couple of years. So get ready for some major freaking upheavals and changes happening in your life. They don't have to be bad, but they will not necessarily be in your control. You will just have to go along with them. Very formidable and relentless energy as well. People can be quite intimidated by you when this aspect is happening to your natal sun. And just know that there's a difference between being relentless and being ruthless. And that will really set up your karma and especially your dharma for your next life. So yes, be relentless, but don't be ruthless. If you go ahead and go to the extreme of throwing people under the bus just to get somewhere, believe me, that shit will add up and come back to get you. FYI. There is a long-term quincunx to Saturn, so you will be rubbing up against rules, laws, regulations, and authority. For the next year, that will happen. And since your natal suns are square to the nodes, this is definitely a transitional time in your life where the one chapter closes and another chapter begins. But this week especially, it's that square to Jupiter and that conjunction with Venus that is going to bring to light those places and those areas where you have been overindulgent and over decadent and excessive, and it could bring in some major challenges and conflicts this week. Anytime there is any kind of dissonance with Venus, it's not a great time. I mean, it's like you're going to want to spend. You're going to want to spend money. Watch how much money you spend. You're going to want to go and just redo everything. Watch your budget. Be particularly pedantic about it. You'll like yourself for it in the future. Just an FYI. But there is a sense of flair and exuberance about you now. Absolutely. So Leo 2s, if your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Leo, you are a Leo 2. This correlates estimating between August 1st and August 10th. Those would be about the birth dates. You guys are conjunct to Mars. So this is super vitality, major energy, and really getting into your body or wanting to. This is a great time to start an exercise routine. It's a great time to get into a new physical routine just because it's going to help you use all that extra energy. There's also a lot of virility and sexuality there. Just being aggressive and wanting to go for it and move forward. If you, through the 11th, your natal sun will be sextile to the sun, so to the current sun in Gemini. So there's also major exuberance when it comes to being seen, like being demonstrated, being demonstrative, showing, displaying, having confidence levels. So major confidence levels, major energy levels are up this week. There is also a trine to Chiron, especially if your birthday is around the 9th or 10th of August. There is a trine to Chiron that is really helping you to find inspiration and ways to use the trauma that you have gone through to learn and to grow and really heal. So especially if you've had some physical damage, this is a particularly healing time for you guys. And then if you were born around the 10th, maybe the 11th, there is a square to Uranus that exists there for you guys, especially, that could just throw curveballs at you that you cannot predict, and you'll surprise yourself. And even what could come into conflict is this: all of a sudden I'm not interested in what I've been interested in before. All of a sudden I don't want to do things the way that I want to do things. This is because of your sun square to Uranus kind of challenging you and surprising you, shaking things up a bit. It's really trying to inspire you to think outside of the box and be more clever. Just an FYI. Leo 3s. So if your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees Leo, you are a Leo 3. Your correlating birthdays would be about, say, the 11th or 12th through the 31st of August. That would be you guys. If your birthday's around the 11th or 12th, you are in square to Uranus. So the same thing I said for Leo 2s. There are curveballs, but especially in your interests, like what you're interested in, and not wanting the same things as you used to want, and sort of losing flavor for it if it isn't interesting, or just wanting to be more oddballish, right? It's trying to incite you to be more clever and be ingenuitive and think outside the box. This is where like necessity is the mother of invention and requires you to sort of invent and create, engineer new things. There could also be tech frustrations that are getting to you, and that is long term. So it's actually kind of been happening for at least a year now, and will be for another year. So FYI. By the 11th, the sun will be sextile to your suns, especially those of you around the 11th, 12th birthdays who were born in the beginning of the third decan. This sextile is going to be really strong for you guys especially, but by the 11th, 12th of June, it's going to be all of you guys. So sextile to the sun means you get a boost of confidence and courage and really want to be seen, or are naturally just demonstrative and demand to be seen. There is a long-term quincunx to Neptune, which can be particularly frustrating, especially now that the sun, your ruling dignitary, is square to Neptune. That's a lot of interference with the way that you see the world, dreaminess, and distraction. So FYI, the best way to deal with this energy, especially this week while the sun is square to Neptune, is find a creative conduit for you to release that energy into, so it doesn't go into you recreating your own reality and being easily deceived. FYI. And if you're born around the 11th or 12th, you will feel the trine to Chiron as well. You will already have started to form that connection, which is about healing the physical, healing the past trauma, finding a way to make harmony with it, make peace with it, and grow from it. So you guys let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you. I would love to know. Please subscribe to the channel so we can help Astrology Motivation grow. My goal is to achieve 10,000 subscribers by the end of this summer, and considering summer hasn't even begun yet, I think we can do it. So let's do it, and then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye, Leo.